Welcome back to Renewable Rides. Today, we're revisiting one of our most powerful conversations with physicist, author, and energy visionary Amory Lovins, whose ideas have reshaped how the world thinks about energy efficiency, integrated design, and aligning energy supply with demand. In this highlight episode, we've pulled together some of Amory's most thought-provoking insights, from why it's, quote, really dumb to make the mobility fuels depend on the electric grid, to how companies like Texas Instruments built factories that were cheaper to build and used 40% less energy. You'll hear Amory challenge business and utility leaders to stop protecting the old energy system and start enabling the next one, where energy becomes a source of profit, not cost, and a foundation of security rather than anxiety. And of course, you'll get a taste of his trademark curiosity, connecting ultralight aircraft, ancient pterodactyls, and the future of aviation in ways only Amory can. So get ready to think differently about energy, innovation, and what's possible when we stop clinging to the past and start designing with purpose. Let's dive in.
So there's some other things I think business leaders should pay attention to that are outside their own purview. For example, my valley has 11 gasoline and diesel filling stations, all of which would be unable to pump if the grid failed. So your folks can't get to work unless they're on EVs. They should do that too. Help them charge at work. You can sell back their battery capacity to the utility and during the day when your solar cells are cracking and so on. But it means our local co-op is getting interested in putting solar and batteries on all the filling stations because it's really dumb to make mobility fuels depend on electric grids. Why do we do that? So there's a lot of insecurities built into our existing system that all business leaders should be concerned about. But in whatever kind of business you're in, you have a lot of tools at your disposal to make energy a source of profit rather than cost and security rather than anxiety.
Yeah. I think too, we're in this interesting time where for nearly 20 years we had a relatively flat load growth, and now we've hit this inflection point. And so the models of the last couple decades may not be what we can predict looking forward. I'm curious. You talk about the pace of change being set by the insurgents, and I think most people would recognize insurgents as like a more common term of disruptors, and we certainly identify as insurgents or disruptors. And so, what are some of the smartest ways that you have to enlist the incumbents or route around them without getting stuck in the trenches?
Well, the incumbents have very important skills and capabilities, many of which will be useful in the transition, as long as they don't get stuck looking backwards. They should be, all of us should be enabling the next energy system, not trying to protect the old one. Those are sunk costs. They are increasingly risky and unattractive.
Yeah.
And the market leaders will be smart enough to get out of them quickly, sell them to their competitors perhaps, or just write them off, because the replacement technologies are often cheaper than just running existing legacy assets, let alone building more of them, for which there's no business case in any place I can think of. Some of the incumbents get this, but these are often traditional industries with very conservative cultures, and that's why the lights stay on. It's a good thing. So the juggle that utility leaders have to do, the hottest seat in American industry, is to keep the vital technical rigor of their culture and care and execution, but do different things. And I'm blessed to be a member out here in rural western Colorado of a cooperative, happens to be called Holy Cross Energy, named for a geological feature. It looks like a cross on one of our mountainsides, run by a PhD electrical engineer who was a senior NREL executive, named Brian Hannigan, one of the best utility execs anywhere. And he's, last I looked, 85% renewable, heading for 100, has superlative reliability, and far from that making his rates soar as the political rhetoric would have us believe. They're stable, and he's charging about a third less than the state average.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so he's doing it right, and bigger utilities can too.
And Amory, before we jump into the final few questions, I think you refer to yourself as a practitioner of applied hope throughout your career. Where have you seen that hope turn into action and adoption that you've kind of been most proud of or most excited about?
Oh, boy. Well, we found in industry typically 30 to 60% energy savings on retrofit, 40 to 90 odd percent in new build, with great economics. And in fact, the new build is almost always lower capital cost.
Yep.
So one of my most exciting projects was with Paul Westbrook at Texas Instruments. He has a book out called The Joy of Efficiency. I commend to your attention. And they were building a wafer fab, semiconductor fabrication plant, which ended up being built in Texas, not China, saving 1,000 high-tech American jobs, because we were able to cut $230 million out of the capital cost, or about 30%.
Wow.
While saving, as I recall, 40% of the energy.
That's amazing.
And in later designs, we could do even better than that. And that set off a revolution in Texas Instruments that's had them do new and retrofit plants all over the world to reduce their water and energy intensity and carbon intensity by 60 odd to 70 odd percent per equivalent wafer made. And they are continuing to progress there. Funny thing about efficiency, you don't run out of it. It keeps getting bigger. It's like low-hanging fruit is not the right metaphor, because the fruit's fallen down, it's mushing up around your ankles, and it grows back faster than you can harvest it.
That's great.
That's an excellent analogy.
And we've had other successes in a lot of buildings, thousands of buildings, and a bit in vehicles, but the auto industry has been harder because most of the firms that were culturally most ready to make a big shift to ultralight materials either couldn't muster the guts and organization to do it, or tried it and did well, and then some new CEO would come in who forgot why they did it. So I can't point to decisive successes yet in road vehicle or in cars and light trucks. I think the Tesla Semi will lead a new vanguard in heavy trucks, and it's coming on the market within months. And I'm also very excited about where we're headed with advanced aviation, so that reference to ai-electricity.stanford.edu will give you as a free bonus my latest lecture on flight without fuel. Of course, the logo of that annual Stanford lecture I do on super efficient and electric aviation is a circle slashed through a pterodactyl. But the pterodactyl had the last laugh. I later learned that the pterosaurs, those flying reptiles, had 10 or 11 meter wingspans. That's 3 times as big as anything that flies on Earth today. They did that with things like paper-thin bones, but with sort of splines inside to keep it stiff and strong. And very sophisticated, graduated porosity at the ends, really amazing engineering. So there's a whole new field called paleobiomimicry, mining these design lessons from a sixth of a billion years ago to inform today's aerospace engineering.
That's incredible. A better use of old dinosaurs than oil, maybe.
Yeah. Then digging up and burning the fossilized remains of primeval swamp goo and dinosaur poop.
We receive a lot of questions from business leaders around the world wanting to learn more about the energy transition, what is possible, and where to start. So to help you stay informed and up to date on best practices, opportunities, risks, and success stories, we created an industry newsfeed at VECKTA.com/news with all our podcasts, blogs, and newsletter. Check it out and connect with Dan, myself, and the VECKTA team to learn more. Cheers and have a good one.